Versatile Mage. Chapter 541. The Black Devil, I Jiangdu. I Tutu was startled. She spun around to see who had stopped her from hitting Gu Jian. However, her expression changed instantly when she saw the tanned face behind her. Gu Jian raised his head and saw a man standing behind I Tutu, firm like a black treasure sword. His expressionless face was intimidatingly dignified. Why would he have such an aura when he was the same age as himself? Sorry, my sister lacks some manners. The tanned man did not let go of I Tutu's hand. His face had no expression as he apologized to Gu Jian. You're I Jiangdu. Gu Jian recognized the person. He glanced at the girl who had given him 2 slaps in the face in disbelief and said, She's your sister. Brother, I Tutu completely withdrew her little demoness temperament, as if she had just seen her strict father. She was as obedient as a little kitten being taught a lesson. I Tutu nodded and slowly let go of I Tutu's hand. He walked up to Gu Jian and said, My father has led the army in fighting against the demon beasts for many years, hence he had been loose on my sister. If she has done anything wrong. Gu Jian's face regained some expression when he heard those words. It seemed like I Jiangdu did not want to cross the line with his Gu family, yet why didn't he stop her earlier? He had already crawled on the ground and taken 2 slaps to the face. Humph, I admit my defeat since I lost the bet, but the elders in my family won't get over this easily, since her impersonating my teammate has now cost me my nomination. Gu Jian had regained his confidence. He had to get his face back. My father has a vote, I'll let him know, as a compensation for your loss, said I Jiangdu in a seemingly humble manner. The words immediately caused an uproar among the crowd. Those with the ability to vote were surely authorities of the country. Even some councilmen or the chairman of magic associations could not guarantee they would get a vote. What kind of background did this I Jiangdu have, that his father would have a vote in his hand? Are you serious? Gu Jian's eyes glittered. If he could secure the vote, he would end up the winner even after suffering the 3 slaps. I already have 4 votes as a representative of the military academy, so my father's vote won't make any difference, said I Jiangdu. The crowd went crazy as soon as he finished the sentence. 4 votes. That guy had 4 votes. He was the real provisional candidate. Even Mo Fan was taken by surprise, and immediately re-evaluated the tanned young man who had the temperament of a real battle mage. Even someone special like him only had 3 votes, making him a half-provisional candidate. He was told that someone else was already selected as a provisional candidate, yet he never thought it would be I Tutu's brother, representing the military academy. The candidates of the World College Tournament were selected from the students of all the higher learning institutes, including the military academy. I did hear someone mention that. Since you're willing to do that, I'll consider it even, said Gu Jian. He seemed to be barely satisfied with the offer, yet his heart was already pounding wildly. Even 1,000 pieces of gold was not enough to get a vote. Gu Jian was well aware of the vote's value. Oh, I didn't say it's even yet, said I Jiangdu. What do you want now? I've already let her slap me in the face because of my bet with Mo Fan. However, you do know the rules between the renowned families. She has made me lose my nomination. Our Gu family won't get over it easily, if it weren't for the vote from your father, blurted out Gu Jian, who was scared that I Jiangdu would retract his offer. I Jiangdu glanced at I Tutu, who was shaking her head, trying to tell him not to turn it into a mess. However, I Jiangdu simply responded with a grin. His eyes were like 2 swords, stabbing at Gu Jian as he turned away from I Tutu. Gu Jian subconsciously took a few steps back after receiving that glare. I can compensate your loss for her wrong, yet the words you've said to humiliate her. It felt like I Jiangdu had completely turned into a different person. A terrifying energy was leaking out from his tanned body. As he grabbed the air in front of him, Gu Jian was lifted from the ground by an invisible hand, easier than grabbing a little chick. Gu Jian's feet left the ground, as if something was holding onto his throat. Blue veins began to surface on his face. The change of scene was so quick that the crowd surrounding him quickly backed off. Ai Jiangdu was like a black devil controlling the place. He was only holding his hand in front of him, yet he had already lifted Gu Jian half a meter off the ground. The black energy rolled wildly, so cold that the students felt like they were soaked in freezing water. "Hey, stop it. Please don't cause any trouble here." The three referees quickly intervened as they sensed the murderous aura. One of the referees was already drawing a star pattern, intending to stop Ai Jiangdu. "It's none of your business," snapped Ai Jiangdu, pushing his other hand in the direction of the three referees. An invisible wave of energy swept forward in the air, pushing the three referees over 10 meters away. If they had not slammed into the barrier on the dueling ground, the force was enough to inflict some minor injuries to them. Mo Fan and Ding Yumian were stunned. If the guy was a candidate, it implied that his age was close to theirs. On top of that, he was a student from the military academy. Meanwhile, the three referees were most likely advanced magicians. Even if they had not achieved the advanced level yet, they would not be far away from it, yet they were simply knocked away so easily by Ai Jiangdu's soft push. What are you trying to do? I'm telling you, you don't want to mess with our Gu family." Gu Jian's voice was trembling. It was difficult for him to talk while something was clenching his throat. "Talking about family now. Our Ai family are all soldiers, who risked their lives to protect humanity's territory north of the Great Wall. The only daughter who isn't involved with the army was sent here to Pearl Institute, and even my father did not dare to scold her. If it weren't for the fact that killing you would cost me my spot in the World College tournament, I'd let those rotten eggs from your Gu family come and retrieve your corpse instead." Ai Jiangdu's roar was like a demon, leaving the crowd's ears buzzing. Gu Jian was scared to death, yet Ai Jiangdu was obviously a fearless man. Something similar to a star pattern or star orbit flickered under Ai Jiangdu's feet. Gu Jian was slammed into the ground as if he had just received a great blow from above. Chapter End. Versatile Mage. Chapter 542. Shameless Man. The pressure on Gu Jian was almost half a ton in weight, nearly crushing him flat. The ground had sunken in the shape of a human figure, with blood splattering to the side. Gu Jian was very close to reaching the peak of the intermediate level, yet he was completely unable to fight back against Ai Jiangdu. If he had not summoned his armor equipment at the end, the pressure would simply have crushed him to a pulp. Ai Jiangdu did not show any mercy with the attack. He did not seem to care if Gu Jian still had his armor equipment available. If Gu Jian's armor equipment had still been on cooldown, he would be dead by now. Powdered cement scattered in the air as a cloud of dust swept across the place. The crowd fell silent, no one daring to stand out and interfere, nor did they dare to check on Gu Jian. The strength that Ai Jiangdu had displayed was not on the same level as students like them. Many people could not even see him controlling it. Mo Fan slowly uttered, "Space. Space element." Mo Fan would have been totally confused if he had not witnessed the fiery sorceress, Jiang Feng, using it, dimensional type magic, space element. The summoning element was also considered a dimensional type magic, but only advanced magicians had an extremely low chance to awaken it. Elemental magic was the most common, which everyone would learn during high school and continue to improve in tertiary studies. However, students would also learn about white magic, black magic, and dimensional magic. It was uncommon for basic and intermediate magicians to have any chance of seeing white magic, black magic, or dimensional magic, and among them, the space element was one of the rarest. Ai Jiangdu's space element was too overwhelming. Even the three referees were stunned. Mo Fan was fairly curious about how capable the other person who was selected as a provisional candidate was, yet when he finally had the chance to meet him, the fellow was absolutely unbelievable. Gu Jian was stuck in the ground, not sure if he was dead or alive, although he did look like he had lost half his health there. Mo Fan finally collected his thoughts after a long moment. he discovered that the devil-like Ai Jiangdu had now transformed into a loving ciscon brother, fondling his sister Ai Tutu's head, fully expressing his love for her. Is he dead? Asked Ai Tutu softly. He will be if he doesn't get treated soon, replied Ai Jiangdu. Mo Fan was totally impressed by this violent, biased Ai Jiangdu. He quickly gave the referees a look. The referees were still recovering from their bewilderment. It took them quite some time to drag Gu Jian out of the ground and send him hurriedly off to the infirmary. If any student died while they were on duty, they would have to shoulder a huge responsibility. There are too many people here. Let's go, said Ai Jiangdu, glancing at their surroundings. However, before he could go, the students nearby instantly vanished, scared that the maniac would simply wipe them out to get some quiet time. After seeing Gu Jian's outcome, both Li Ji and Lu Xing were relieved that they had not scolded Ai Tutu despite holding a grudge against her. Everyone left together, Ai Jiangdu inviting them to get some drinks as if nothing had happened. Ai Jiangdu was obviously an alcoholic. He had emptied a few bowls before they hardly discussed anything. However, he was not as stern as he was when they first met him, no different than an ordinary young man. Perhaps only when drinking was he able to take off the stern temperament of a soldier. Oh, so you're Mo Fan. Ai Jiangdu glanced at Mo Fan in surprise. There were only 2 provisional candidates so far, and one of them was Ai Jiangdu from the military academy. As such, Ai Jiangdu was quite curious who the other person was. To his surprise, the guy turned out to be his sister's housemate. I wouldn't have bothered with all that if I knew she had a brother like you, smiled Mo Fan. Ai Jiangdu was even crueler when it came to avenging his sister. It's not the same, you did it as a friend, I did it as her brother. Ai Jiangdu said sternly while shaking his head. All right, Mo Fan could only smile wryly. Based on Ai Jiangdu's logic, if every one of Ai Tutu's friends and relatives were to teach Gu Jian a lesson, how many times would he have to die to make it even? Either way, I'm happy to meet you in advance. I'm very strict with my team. I don't look at strength only, but also one's courage and character. It does seem that you've qualified, said Ai Jiangdu. Your team, the observant Ding Yumian quickly repeated. Ai Jiangdu was stunned for a moment, before he quickly waved his hand and switched the topic. It seemed like Ai Jiangdu had leaked out some information after having a few drinks. Mo Fan was not stupid. He immediately understood the meaning behind Ai Jiangdu's words. This guy was the captain for the national team. Not only was he a provisional candidate, he was even given a role. On second thought, it was far from a surprise. This guy from the military academy had regularly roamed between the boundaries of life and death, thus, he was definitely very experienced with fighting. His ability to command and discipline surely outmatched the rest of the students, not to mention he was stronger than other people at the same age, and his mysterious space element. If someone like him was the captain for the national team, Mo Fan was quite looking forward to the World College Tournament. How many peerless geniuses and strong opponents would he meet? After some time, Ai Tutu dragged her brother away to enjoy some time together in Shanghai. Ai Jiangdu had come to visit his sister despite his busy schedule, hence the others had no intention of disturbing them. After Mo Fan arrived back at his apartment, he sank into the couch and mumbled to himself, who would have thought? About what? Mu Nujiao came out from behind the bar like a ghost. Her pale hand was holding a glass of bright red wine. Oh, do you know Ai Tutu's brother? Said Mo Fan. Are you referring to Ai Jiangdu? Mu Nujiao asked, her voice holding great respect. Yeah, that guy is so strong. Indeed, I heard lots of legends about him when I was younger. He's a maniac. He went to the military academy, killed lots of demon beasts, and was still a lot stronger than us students who spent lots of time cultivating. Mu Nujiao seemed fairly tired. She sat on the other couch and put the glass aside. What's with you? Drinking wine? Asked Mo Fan, as he realized something did not feel right about Mu Nujiao. Mu Nujiao let out a wry smile and sighed. What else could it be? I don't think I will be able to secure a nomination. Without it, my family won't invest further in me. Mu Nujiao took another sip. To her surprise, Mo Fan silently took the glass away and emptied it. Mu Nujiao's eyes widened, with a hint of embarrassment. This shameless man, that was her glass. Chapter end. Versatile Mage. Chapter 543. I can afford to take care of you. Drinking won't be of any help. Mo Fan secretly enjoyed the pleasant scent of the girl's lips he captured off the edge of the glass. I was just resting. The wine helps me sleep, Mu Nujiao said, still feeling embarrassed, asking herself why she had to stay in the same apartment as a shameless jerk like him. Oh, I thought you were feeling down. I was trying to give you a motivational speech, said Mo Fan with an awkward smile. Mu Nujiao twisted her lips. It was rare to see such a reaction from her. Perhaps she had already had a few glasses of wine before Mo Fan came home. Then say something motivational. I want to hear it. Mu Nujiao sank into the couch, seeming to have slightly lowered her guard. She simply laid there comfortably. The girl had a charming aura under the effects of alcohol. Mo Fan almost started drooling when he saw the cleavage through her slightly opened collar. Damn, since he started living with the two girls, his usage of toilet rolls had been increasing a lot. When could he actually be a man and not sacrifice his millions of children all the time? Why aren't you talking? Mu Nujiao slightly raised her head and looked at Mo Fan with a sleepy look. However, she just happened to see Mo Fan, who was like a wolf drooling at a little lamb. She immediately realized her inappropriate posture. It instantly woke her up, and she quickly sat upright and glared at Mo Fan. Pervert, cursed Mu Nujiao. Hee. Mo Fan wore an eerie grin. Mu Nujiao was just about to leave when Mo Fan stopped her. The truth was, Mo Fan could tell that Mu Nujiao was bothered by the World College tournament. Otherwise, she would not be drinking or asking for some motivation. Mo Fan knew the girl was a lot more hardworking than he was every day. Is the World College tournament so important to you? Asked Mo Fan. Mo Fan had not seen Mu Nujiao a lot for the past few months, which implied that she had pretty much spent all her time on training and cultivation. Mu Nujiao glanced at Mo Fan and saw the confused look on his face. She let out a wry smile and said, "You're not from any of the renowned families, so you might not understand the details." "I'm free tonight," Mo Fan replied. There are two kinds of disciples in a renowned family, one of which usually goes around fooling around aimlessly, with no goals whatsoever. Those are often looked down upon by the people in the families, but whenever the family is at stake, they are the ones sacrificed. They have no choice but to do anything that the family asks them to, be it marriage, or relocation. They won't dare to disobey the orders given to them. In simpler words, the family is giving you food and shelter, hence you must listen to their orders, no matter what. Mu Nujiao emphasized the last few words. Mo Fan opened his mouth to say something, but he could not find the words. The other type is those who utilize the resources provided by the family to improve their cultivation. It works like a loan. To become better than everyone else, you'll ask for the resources you need. It does give you a head start, but in return, you have to pay the price by having impressive achievements in the future. Otherwise, they will take control of everything, making you do all kinds of things for them. Most of them are barely acceptable, but the most common, yet worst thing, is arranged marriage. It's common for the renowned families to work together sometimes, yet they won't trust each other, so they will use marriage to tie the bonds, pretty much the arranged marriage you've seen a lot in movies and novels. Mu Nujiao did drink quite a lot today. She would not normally describe the renowned families like she did. Today, Mo Fan paid full attention when he listened, as it was true that he had not looked at the disciples of the renowned families from a different view. He initially thought they were just proud and arrogant people to the commoners. So you mean, those disciples are forced into an arranged marriage because of their own fault? Said Mo Fan. It applies to most of them, yet there's still exception, like I Tutu, said Mu Nujiao with a hint of envy. Mo Fan was always curious why a girl like Mu Nujiao would be close friends with that lunatic Ai Tutu. It turned out that there were other reasons behind it. Ai Tutu was always jealous of Mu Nujiao's appearance and physique, as she had the temperament of a goddess. All men would lose their minds when they saw her. And clearly, Mu Ningzhu is in the same situation as me. Mu Nujiao suddenly locked her gaze onto Mo Fan, as if she could read his mind. Mo Fan never thought Mu Nujiao would suddenly mention his wife. He chuckled awkwardly and said, "Why are you talking about her now? Weren't you concerned about her?" asked Mu Nujiao. "About what?" asked Mo Fan, confused. "She won the nomination of the Imperial College. The news only came out today," said Mu Nujiao. Mo Fan opened his mouth wide in bewilderment. Seriously? That Mu Ningzhu? The nomination preliminaries at the capital were assumed to be more intense than here, but she managed to secure the nomination despite being a new student. It seemed like her strength had vastly improved over the days since he last saw her. Oh, no wonder Mu Nujiao was feeling down today, and looked in need of some comfort. It was because she had learned that Mu Ningzhu, who was in the same batch as her, had secured the nomination. They were both proud women with glamorous looks, from renowned families, and treated as goddesses in their schools. However, Mu Ningzhu had secured the nomination, while Mu Nujiao was facing elimination. Mo Fan was planning to comfort her by saying that she was only a new student this year, but the words stuck in his throat. Mu Nujiao was comparing herself to a maniac like Mu Ningzhu. "I can still ask for more resources from the family, so I can improve my strength during the preliminaries, but I'm a bit scared." Mu Nujiao went back to the topic, revealing her biggest worry. "You're afraid that if you ask again and fail to reach their expectations, you'll lose your freedom, too," said Mo Fan. Mu Nujiao bit her lips and nodded. She would not admit defeat. If Mu Ningzhu was able to do it, she felt like she could do it too, yet she was afraid. If she asked again, she would become a puppet to the family. She would normally not mind obeying their orders, but what if they told her to marry someone she didn't even like? Since Mu Nujiao was seriously asking for his opinion, Mo Fan would try his best to help her. He replied after a slight pause, "If you're scared, just give up." "Why?" Mu Nujiao was stunned, wanting to hear his answer. "You don't have to try so hard," said Mo Fan with a blossoming smile. "I can afford to take care of you." Mu Nujiao rose to her feet and left angrily. That scum, that piece of shit, she should have known that it was stupid to ask that guy hoping he would give her some guidance. What a waste of her anticipation. Mu Nujiao stomped up the stairs as she headed up, trying to vent her anger. She soon heard Mo Fan's voice coming from behind her. "I'm being serious, Zhao Zhao." Chapter end. Versatile Mage. Chapter 544. Opponent, Dongfang Lai. Mo Fan was enjoying his time fighting duels, stirring up trouble, cultivating, and teasing the goddesses in his school every day. Mo Fan had already given Mu Nujiao the best option he could come up with, yet it was up to her to decide if she would listen to him. It was the manliest suggestion he could ever give her. However, as her housemate, Mo Fan was familiar with Mu Nujiao's personality. She would not give up so easily. Hopefully, she would not simply try to achieve some quick success and end up handing herself to the family, as it would be difficult to redeem herself later. Mu Nujiao did remind Mo Fan of his conversation with Mu Ningzhu near the rundown church in the abandoned city. It was obvious that Mu Nujiao had also borrowed heavily from the family, otherwise, her cultivation would not have improved at such a terrifying pace. Hopefully, the loan she took wasn't too great, or else he would have to pay a great price to redeem her. At least Xinxia was behaving well. He only needed to pay her school fees and living costs, which she did not even use a lot of. The truth was, she was able to earn her own pocket money with her healing element at a crazy rate. The debit card he gave to cover her living expenses probably had more money than it used to have. When she visited a month ago, she even bought lots of imported milk powder for little Flame Bell. She was already helping to feed the family. Speaking of money, Mo Fan felt his heart clench. He did not have much of his savings left after spending it on the flame bell. The only thing Mo Fan had left was the pseudomorphing demon beast seed. He was originally going to keep it until later, yet he had no choice but to sell it now. He bought a shadow element soul seed and used the rest on soul seed pieces. After calculating his savings and considering that he would need more money than ever since he now had more wives than ever, he no longer dared to waste his time at home. He immediately gave Lingerling a call. "Little girl, got any work to do? We'll have to leave the city, you up for it?" "How many days?" "Around 3. "That's fine, my next match is in 5 days. "How much money?" "Not much, but there's a lot of demon beasts." "Cool, I'm in need of soul essences, too." Speaking of soul essences, Mo Fan had already leveled up 29 of the stars in his fire nebula. He was halfway to getting his 4th tier fiery fist. Therefore, he was fairly eager when there was a quest to kill lots of demon beasts. The magic city was covered in white fog, which made the tall buildings look like they were floating above the clouds in heaven. The same fog loomed over the Pearl Institute. One could hardly see their fingers after reaching their hands out. Mo Fan had no sense of direction to begin with. When all the landmarks in the spacious school ground disappeared from his vision, he was completely lost in the middle of nowhere. Fuck, my phone was smashed during the quest. Perfect timing, I can't even look for help, complained Mo Fan as he roamed aimlessly around the school ground. It took him some time to find the dueling ground. His teammates had broken into a sweat before he barely made it in time. They thought he was going to bail on them. Lots of people this time. Mo Fan scanned his surroundings and discovered that the place was bigger than usual. Even the seats were filled, with a higher number of referees than the previous matches. "Our opponents are strong," Bai Yulang said to Mo Fan. The teams were reshuffled after 3 matches. Mo Fan was in luck this time, as he was on the same team as Bai Yulang. This Bai Yulang was Gu Jian's opponent during their second match, and his strength was quite impressive. Mo Fan's luck was not so bad that he was grouped up with only lower-ranked students. Mo Fan had already fought 2 matches with his new team and won both of them by totally crushing their opponents. The team had a great time working together. Today was the 3rd match, and it seemed like they were fighting against a strong team. "Who's in their team?" asked Mo Fan. Instead of saying all the names, Bai Yulang only said one, Dongfang Lai. The fog finally cleared slightly, allowing Mo Fan to see a man with a scornful grin sitting on the other side. The man was not tall, and if it weren't for his reputation, those who saw him for the first time would assume he was a hedonistic son from a renowned family. He was none other than Dongfang Lai. Mo Fan already knew who Dongfang Lai was. When he first came to the fire school, even Wei Rong purposely called his name out in the hall. The rankings of the fire school kept on changing, yet the guy named Dongfang Lai was able to secure his spot in the first rank for a very long time, a clear indication that he was worthy of the rank. Luckily, Mo Fan's teammates were fairly strong, thus, they still had a chance to win the match. No wonder there are so many people here. Guess they think the match is going to be exciting. Mo Fan scanned the surrounding area and saw lots of students ranked highly in their element schools. The match was highly anticipated. Everyone was basically ranked in the top 5 of their respective element schools on both Mo Fan's team and Dongfang Lai's team, a true battle between the top elites. A match like this would easily attract those who were interested in researching their potential opponents, while the others were here to enjoy the spectacular duels between the students. "Take a rest, we'll start soon," Bai Yulang reminded the team as the commander. The other 2 seemed fairly serious about the match. Mo Fan was indifferent as usual. He took out his phone to accept a call from Lingerling. "Mo Fan, I've transferred the endpoint of your old phone to your new one, don't hang up yet," said Lingerling. "The match is starting soon," said Mo Fan. "It won't take long. The data card in your old phone was completely smashed. We have to do it now." Besides, your phone also records the points you've accumulated as a hunter. It will affect your hunter rank if it were lost. I took a look at your points. You will be a hunter master if you continue to work at your current pace, allowing you to accept quests that are more difficult, Ling said. Alright, Mo Fan nodded. Once the match started, he would have to leave his phone in his bag. However, for the sake of his data, he had no choice but to hold it in his hand. He could simply put it back when the referees told him to. By the way, it looks like your phone has received some important message. You should take a look at it, said Ling. What's it about? Asked Mo Fan. I didn't take a clear look. It looks like it's something about Zhang Xiaoho. You should check it once it's transferred to your new phone, said Ling. Alright. After Ling mentioned it, Mo Fan realized that it had been a while since the monkey last gave him a call. That guy would usually call him once in a while to catch up. He wondered how his brother was doing with his mission. Hadn't it been a month? Chapter end. Versatile Mage. Chapter 545. News of Death. As the data was being transferred into Mo Fan's new phone, the referee asked the participants to take their positions. Bai Yulang led the way with the other two teammates into the barrier. Mo Fan slowly followed them, watching the progress bar on his phone. It was already at 90% and would be done within a minute. Mo Fan had lots of important messages on his phone. For example, the NSFW text and voice messages with Xinxia. It contained all his precious collections. On the other hand, Dongfang Lai and his teammates were already on the stage. Dongfang Lai's expression showed a slight change. Even though he still looked indifferent, he would occasionally glance in Mo Fan's direction. He and Zhou Shuming had been observing Mo Fan for quite some time. The guy had given them quite a few surprises. He initially assumed the new student would only be able to rank around 20 to 30, yet it seemed like he had begun to pose a threat to the top people on the leaderboard. It was rare to see a new student with such strength. You somehow are matched against him this time. I haven't forgotten that you said you would defeat him in 1 or 2 rounds, Zhou Shuming said mockingly. Even though the teams were assigned through drawings, the system was still prone to cheating. Zhou Shuming would only need to pull some tricks behind the scene to be teamed up with whoever he wanted. With both of them on the same team, and 2 other strong students, they were basically unbeatable. Don't worry, if no one is in the way, my fiery fist will instantly knock him out, said Dongfang Lai with a confident smile. True that, since your innate talent is a rank higher than his double innate elements, agreed Zhou Shuming. Dongfang Lai's innate talent, mutated fire stars, was ranked 4th on the leaderboard. It made his fire spells a tier higher. Bai Yulang said softly to his teammates. As one of the top students in the school, he was all too familiar with Dongfang Lai's strength. The guy was not only terrifying because of his cultivation, but his shocking innate talent. Any fire spell he cast would be a tier higher than its actual grade. In other words, if Dongfang Lai's current cultivation was at the 3rd intermediate level, his fiery fist would be level 4 instead. Even Mo Fan was surprised by Lai's innate talent. He had strengthened 29 of his fire stars. Only 20 were left for him to cast the 4th tier fiery fist, but Dongfang Lai did not even need any soul essence to strengthen his stars. As long as his cultivation was at the 3rd level, his innate talent would simply improve the spell to the 4th level. The 3rd tier fiery fist was already strong enough to crush any other spells from the same level, let alone the 4th tier. It was likely that no defensive equipment would be able to resist it. His wind element is quite normal, but don't let him cast fiery fist at all costs, or else we will simply lose the match, emphasized Bai Yulang. I'll keep an eye on him. Mo Fan, the combination of your lightning and fire won't be any weaker than Dongfang Lai's spell, but he only needs to complete a star pattern to destroy our team, so, what's that thing on your shoulder? Bai Yulang was just about to go over his plan when he discovered a sudden flame rising on Mo Fan's shoulder. It looked like a burning ball at first, but as he took a closer look, he realized it was an adorable little fire creature. "Oh, it's my contracted beast, little Flame Bell, who gave you permission to come out here?" Mo Fan speechlessly grabbed the little Flame Bell off his shoulder, like he was going to smack her ass. The little Flame Bell looked extremely wronged. She was obviously telling Mo Fan, "I want to help Daddy fight your strong opponents. Since it's your contract summoning, it's fine to let her out first, but is your contract summoning not grown yet?" said Bai Yulang. She's in the youth stage," said Mo Fan. Youth stage? Is she here for show?" Bai Yulang asked speechlessly. Although none of them were summoners, they did learn about the summoning element in their classes. What could a contracted beast in the youth stage possibly do? "I think you should summon your Swift Star Wolf instead." "It's fine, I can summon the Swift Star Wolf with a basic spell, but I need to draw a star pattern to summon this girl, so it's better to let her out first," said Mo Fan. Mo Fan immediately realized that he was talking nonsense. The Flame Bell could simply come out from her contracted space without relying on the star pattern. The rules only allowed summoners to have one summoned beast out before the match started. If they planned to summon more, they would have to find the time once the referee declared the start of the battle. That sounds right, but try to summon the wolf as soon as possible to pin down our opponents, since if we let Dongfang Lai attack us, we are screwed. "Captain, you've mentioned it more than 10 times. Damn you, better safe than sorry." Mo Fan scanned the crowd. Now that the fog had cleared, he could see lots of familiar faces around him. Mu Nujiao, whom he was planning to keep as his mistress, was here, Tutu sitting beside her. It seemed like her brother had gone back to the army. The good student Ding Yumian was here too, with the tomboy Huang Xingli beside her, while the guy who self-claimed to be handsome was nearby too. He was still bothering Ding Yumian, like usual. Zhao Manyan was here too, sitting fairly close to the stage. The guy had been gone for quite some time. Mo Fan almost forgot what he looked like. More shockingly, he did not have a new girlfriend sitting beside him. The guy whose bow tie he threw away was here too. Mo Fan completely forgot what his name was. He was obviously on the same side as Zhou Shuming and Dongfang Lai, looking forward to seeing Mo Fan lose with a cold grin. His old friends Shen Mingxiao and Fatty Luo Song were here, too. Those two had been fairly close with one another after coming to the main campus. Not sure if something beyond friendship had happened between them when they were running away from the ruined city. Even though his first wife had put her life at stake and used the ice crystal bow to save their worthless asses, they were still quite hostile toward him. Unfortunately, his strength had greatly surpassed theirs, so they would seldom appear in front of him. Prepare for battle. The data transmission finished right as the referee spoke. Mo Fan glanced at the main referee and saw that he was still clearing his thoughts. He quickly glanced at his phone when the messages popped up. Mo Fan was only going to take a quick look and threw the phone to Tutu. However, the first message that popped up on the screen happened to be related to Zhang Xiaoho. "Did Haozi get promoted again, making it look so serious?" mumbled Mo Fan to himself. As he opened the message, he heard the referee snapping at him, telling him to put the phone away. However, as he opened the message, the single line of words caused him to tremble as if he was struck by lightning. His eyes went totally blank, as if he had just lost his soul. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.